Amid an increasingly intense public spotlight on BTS members' personal lives, an internal message from HYBE sent exclusively to Jin and Jungkook has sparked a wave of overwhelming emotional reactions among ARMY Global. The content of the message has not yet been officially made public, but strong indications of Jin and Jungkook's reactions, captured in an internal video, bring to the fore one big question. What exactly did HYBE say to shake the two quietest figures in BTS and make millions of ARMY unable to hold back tears? This event is not just an ordinary event in the South Korean entertainment industry. The mysterious message was reportedly sent via a closed internal communication line and was only addressed to the two members. Not involving other management staff, not published through official media, and not uploaded to HYBE's social platforms, this message seems to be very carefully designed both in terms of timing, context, and content. An internal source who did not want to be named stated that the message is not only personal, but contains a strategic dimension that touches the future of both careers. The decision not to announce it publicly adds to the speculation. What made Jin and Jungkook look so devastated after reading it? The 17-second footage that was widely circulated in the fan community showed Jungkook sitting hunched over, with his face covered in a hoodie, while Jin stood in silence, staring at the sheet of paper in his hand without saying a word. In a world of celebrities full of controlled expressions and perfectly designed scripts, the silent gestures of both have become precisely the most sonorous language. ARMY around the world gives a variety of interpretations, from predictions about the announcement of the dissolution, to changes in the internal management system, to personal issues that have been tightly closed by the agency. However, it is worth emphasizing, there is no confirmation that the message contains negative news. Instead, some Korean entertainment media analysts stated that the emotional intensity felt by the members and fans suggests that the message may contain something very personal and touching, some kind of deep appreciation or long-term mandate from HYBE for Jin and Jungkook's contributions. Jin has recently completed his military service and returned to public activities, while Jungkook has in recent months shown signs of emotional distress in interviews. This combination of time and psychological state reinforces the assumption that the message was not sent by chance. The question is this a form of deep appreciation, or is it a transfer of roles behind the big stage? HYBE, as of this writing, has not issued an official statement. In corporate communications, silence can be a strategy. And this time, the strategy managed to burn the curiosity of the public. ARMY is not just a fan base. They are a collective force with amazing analytical skills, dedication, and loyalty. Not surprisingly, the discussion platforms are full of speculation, theories, and even semiotic analysis of Jin's facial expressions and Jungkook's body gestures. But on the other hand, media psychologists and public communication experts state that the emotional reaction of fans to this event indicates an inner attachment that goes beyond just the relationship of idols and fans. The fact that millions of people felt touched and cried without knowing the exact content of the message proves that the emotional narrative built by BTS and HYBE over the years has managed to foster a sense of deep empathy. One piece of commentary from the ARMY on an online forum stated, "I had no idea what Jin and Jungkook were reading, but seeing their faces like that made me realize they're not just stars. They are humans who are carrying something that may be too heavy to even mention." This kind of response is a reflection of the conditions in which the emotional involvement of fans is already at a very high psychosocial level. This is a new reality in the global entertainment industry, when corporate internal messages can have an impact like geopolitical events in the public. In a later development, some sources said that the content of the message was likely related to HYBE's long-term plans for the future of BTS as a whole. Not a few suspect that Jin and Jungkook may be given symbolic responsibilities as determinants of new directions post-military transition period and the internal dynamics of the agency. However, public opinion remained divided. Some welcomed the possibility, but others worried that there would be a shift in roles or restrictions on creative freedom. Furthermore, an ethical question arises. Should HYBE have exposed the contents of the message in order to defuse wild speculation? Or is it that secrecy is precisely part of the deliberate control of strategic communications? One thing is undeniable. This phenomenon shows how much influence BTS has and how their every move, even just reading a letter in silence, can affect millions of people emotionally. It's not just an internal communication issue. This is an unprecedented demonstration of symbolic power in the history of the global music industry. Meanwhile, Jin kept his silence in front of the media. Jungkook, in his solo performance after the incident, said only briefly, "There are things we can't explain right now, but we thank you for your understanding." This statement, although short, actually reinforces the aura of mystery and leaves room for deeper speculation. Situations like these hold tremendous narrative power. When the public is not given the full facts, what works is the collective imagination, emotional experience, and public interpretation. And in this case, the combination of the three created a storm of sympathy, empathy, and anxiety that stretched across continents. HYBE, as a giant entertainment company, is certainly aware that every communication has consequences. They know that a message, even if it is internal, can create a domino effect out of control if read in a particular context. Is this a long-term communication strategy? Or is it an early warning of something greater? Until now, there has been no clarity. But one thing is certain, the army is still waiting. And when that wait is framed with tears, questions, and love, then whatever HYBE says to Jin and Jungkook is no longer just a message. It's a symbol of trust, transition, or perhaps separation. All possibilities remain open, and we all know, when symbols already speak louder than words, then the world is on the verge of a new round. However, amid the emotional outbursts and enthusiasm that accompanied the event, a more fundamental question arose. Did this event really happen as it seemed on the surface? Or could this be a form of communication strategy that is very carefully designed to create a wave of public opinion and attention? In the context of South Korea's highly structured and calculating entertainment industry, the possibility that every public figure's gesture, including the moment of reading a message or shedding a tear, has been calculated for a specific purpose cannot be ignored. So, are we witnessing an authentic moment, or is it simply narrative engineering aimed at strengthening the emotional attachment between artist and fan? Some people think that the viral moment, especially because it appeared at about the same time on various platforms such as TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Twitter, raises suspicion. How is it possible that the internal video footage that is claimed to be exclusive can be spread quickly and uniformly on many channels, without any decisive action on the part of HYBE? Is this a form of data leak, or is it precisely part of a deliberate covert communication campaign? We need to admit together, today's social media world has become a perception battleground. Information spreads so quickly and often without adequate verification. In this case, the 17-second video showing Jin and Jungkook's expressions, while very strong emotionally, doesn't explain the full context of the situation at hand. In fact, there was no voice, no written script delivered at the same time. Then why did so many parties immediately conclude that they were receiving a pitiful message from HYBE? We have to ask further. Who distributed the snippets of the video? In what context was the video recorded? Is it true that it is an internal documentation, or is it just part of the content production that is being prepared by the agency? More than the consumption of information, the public today lives in an opinion space formed by algorithms and emotions. When a piece of video spreads, the accompanying narrative spreads at the same time, even if the narrative is not necessarily based on facts. Are we being victimized by the speed of information that trumps accuracy?